There is a particular kind of stillness that only exists in an office near the end of the day. The kind where the air conditioning hums just low enough to sound like breathing, and the light through the frosted windows turns a softer shade of honey. Not quite gold yet, but trying. She sits at her desk with both hands on the keyboard, her eyes tracing the gentle rhythm of the screen. Her dark hair falls softly past her shoulder. She pushes it back with the back of her wrist, the way she always does when she is almost done with something. Almost. There is something about her face in moments like this, unhurried, quietly focused, the corners of her mouth carrying the faintest shape of calm. Not the calm of someone who has nothing to worry about, but the calm of someone who has decided not to rush. She reads one last line, closes the document, and then she simply sits for a moment, looking at the screen the way you look at a window after rain. Not at anything in particular, just at the light. The corridor of the building is long and quiet. Her footsteps are soft, unhurried. She passes a row of plants on a low shelf, someone's small act of care in a place of fluorescent ceiling, and she glances at the way you nod at something that made the world slightly gentle. Outside, the city breathes differently in the evening. The sky is the color of a tangerine pressed against warm glass, and the streets below are beginning to light themselves, one by one, like people switching on lamps in their window. She gets into her car. The door closes with that satisfying sound. She sets her bag on the passenger seat and pauses just a sec before turning the key. The radio comes on softly, something instrumental. She does not change it. The drive home is not long, but it is hers. Every red light is a small pause she has learned to be grateful for. She watches the city from inside the glass, the noodle shop with its warm orange glow, the man walking a dog too big for the leash, the couple sharing an umbrella though it has not yet started to rain. She does not know their story, but for a moment she is glad they exist. The sky deepens as she drives. By the time she turns onto her street, the first stars are attempting themselves above the city's glow. She does not have to ring the bell or turn a light on.
Someone is already waiting. The moment the clicks, just the click, there is a small sound from the other side. A chirp, a question. She opens the door and he is there. A pale orange cat with enormous eyes and a tail held straight up like a flag of welcome. He meows once, then again, more insistently, as though the world has been unbearable in her absence. And this must be formally noted. She kneels down immediately, sets her bag down without looking, picks him up and holds him against her chest, and he presses his forehead into her collarbone with full force, the way cats do when the feeling is too large for their small bodies. She laughs, just a small sound, barely a laugh at all, more like a breath that became one.
Okay, I'm home.
He purrs as if he has been waiting all day to remember what it sounds like. There is a particular pleasure in cooking that has nothing to do with hunger. It is the pleasure of process, of water running cold over your hands, of the satisfying pull of a vegetable from its paper bag, of the sound a knife makes against a wooden board when you are doing it right. She washes the tomatoes first, holds one up toward the kitchen light. It is almost translucent at the edges, warm and heavy in her palm. She sets it down and begins to slice, and the scent opens into the kitchen like a small announcement. The pan heats slowly. She does not rush it. She adds oil and watches the surface shift and shimmer. And when it is ready, she knows, not by the clock, but by the sound. A soft exhale of heat when the first pieces of vegetable meet the surface. The cat sits in the kitchen doorway,
watching with the philosophical patience of a creature who knows that something good is coming. She stirs, tastes, adjusts. The kitchen fills with the warm language of garlic and olive oil and something herbed, and the light above the stove gives everything that particular amber quality that makes an ordinary room look like a memory in progress. She serves herself a bowl, sets it on the table by the window, sits down slowly, the way you do when you have been standing all day and the chair is the first kindness. She eats without looking at her phone, just the food and the window and the city growing dark outside. Then she pours a small dish of warm milk and sets it on the floor. The cat approaches it with great dignity, as if this is simply what was owed. It begins quietly, as rain often does. A few drops against the glass, testing, then more. Then the full, soft percussion of a proper evening rain. She hears it before she sees it, sets down her cup and moves to the window. The city below is rewriting itself in reflections. Every streetlight becomes two, one in the air, one in the puddles forming on the pavement. People are hurrying, collars raised, umbrellas blooming open like wet flowers. But up here, behind the glass, there is only the sound and the soft blur of water down the pane. She traces one raindrop with her fingertip. It races another. They merge. She watches them go. The cat jumps onto the windowsill and sits beside her, very close. He stares at the rain the way cats stare at things, with a concentration so total it almost looks like thought. She rests her chin on her hand and looks at him, then out at the rain, then back at him again. The room around her is warm and small and entirely hers. The light is low. The sound of rain fills all the empty spaces. And for a moment, one of those moments you do not know you will remember until you are already remembering it, everything is exactly enough. Later, the rain's still falling. She moves through the apartment in the gentle choreography of evening. She runs warm water for her face, applies a mask in careful upward strokes, and then looks at herself in the mirror. Not critically, just curiously. The way you look at a reflection when you are tired enough to see yourself honestly. She looks kind, she thinks. Not beautiful in the way of effort, but beautiful in the way of rest. Her eyes are soft. Her shoulders have come down from where they spend most of the day. She wraps herself in something oversized and sits on the floor with her back against the sofa. The cat climbs into her lap immediately, with great confidence in his right to be there. She strokes him absently, feeling the small engine of him vibrate against her legs. Outside, the rain continues. Inside, almost nothing moves. When she finally goes to bed, she pulls the blanket up and lies still for a moment, listening. The rain, the cat adjusting himself beside her feet. Somewhere distant, a motorbike. Silence again. Sleep comes the way it does on the best nights, gent without asking. The birds come first, before the alarm, before the light is fully decided. They arrive in the tree outside the window and begin, with no apparent self-consciousness, to announce that the world is still here and still worth singing about. She opens her eyes slowly. The ceiling is the pale gray-white of early morning.
And the light is the specific quality of light that only exists before anyone has made a decision about the day. Open, unscheduled, mild. The cat is already awake. He is sitting at the foot of the bed, watching her with the expression of someone who has been patient for quite some time. She stretches, arms overhead, toes pointed, and makes a sound that is partly a word and partly just a sound. Then she sits up, looks out the window. The sky is the color of a new page. She changes into her exercise clothes, soft navy, simple, and braids her hair loosely. The apartment is quiet, except for her own movement. She drinks a glass of water standing at the kitchen sink, watching the tree outside where the birds are still at work. The bicycle is green. She has had it for years, and it fits the particular geography of her movement the way something only does after long familiarity, responsive to the lean of her weight, to the ease of her hands on the handlebars. She rides through the early morning streets when they are still themselves, before the noise and the hurry, when the shopkeepers are rolling up their shutters and the light is still horizontal, catching on everything sideways, the edges of leaves, the chrome of parked bicycles, the steam from a drain cup. She does not ride fast. She rides the way she does most, with a kind of easy intention. There is a hill she always goes up and a path through the small park she always takes on the way back. The park smells of wet earth and something green. The trees are doing what trees do in the morning, which is something she has never quite been able to name but always recognizes. By the time she is back, her cheeks are warm and her breathing is the good kind of full. She leans the bicycle against the wall and stands for a moment, hands on knees, just breathing. She squeezes a lemon over a glass of cold water and drinks it standing at the counter, feeling each cold mouthful all the way down. Then eggs. She cracks them against the edge of the pan with a casual expertise, and the sound they make is one of the most reliable sounds in the world. The coffee maker begins its slow work beside her, filling the kitchen with that particular fragrance that is not merely a smell, but a mood. She eats at the kitchen table with her legs folded beneath her, reading a few pages of something she left there the night before. The coffee is hot. The eggs are exactly right. The cat sits across from her on his own chair, not begging, merely present, companionable. This, she thinks, without quite thinking it, is what a day should begin with. Nothing urgent, nothing loud, just this. She cleans in the way of someone who finds it satisfying, not as a chore, but as a form of care. The windows are opened, music plays from somewhere in the next room, low and unhurried. The sheets are changed, the floor swept, the laundry loaded into the machine, which begins its own slow, rhythmic turning. Later, she goes to the library, and there is no better feeling than the temperature of a library in the morning. The cool and the quiet and the particular weight of all those books being simply there, patient and available. She moves along the shelves slowly, trailing one finger light, reading spines the way you read a menu when you are not really hungry, but entirely open. She chooses 3, holds them against her chest on the way out, already partially elsewhere. At the cafe, she takes a window seat, the kind that looks out onto the street at foot level. Shoes passing, pigeons, the wheels of a bicycle. She orders coffee and opens the first book, and for a while ceases to be anywhere in particular, which is the best thing reading can do. The day makes its way to evening again, as days do, with a kind of patient inevitability. She comes home to the cat, who greets her the same way he always does, as though her return is the most significant event in a world full of significant events. There is dinner, simpler than last night. There is the comfortable weight of a familiar blanket and the small square of light from her phone, held low, a video playing softly, something gentle, something that asks nothing of her.
She brushes her teeth in front of the bathroom mirror and makes a face at herself, and then laughs at the face, which is its own small gift. When she gets into bed, the cat arranges himself in the warm curve behind her knees with practiced certainty. She reaches back and touches his soft head once. He does not stir. Outside, the city is doing what cities do at night, carrying on, softly lit, full of its many small lives. She is one of them, one quiet light among many. She closes her eyes. The day is complete. Not extraordinary, not empty, just full, in the way of things that are genuinely lived, quietly, gently, entirely.